I'm here with Scott Pace, who works in Harlan County Schools, I guess at Harlan County High School.
That's great.
And he does a lot of different things, but his particular project is community homes for homelessness and addiction recovery. So
That's great.
talk about, Scott, why did you come up with this project and what's it all about?
Okay. The students, I think, have picked an outstanding project. We, in our school alone, we've got several students that are identified as homeless. And district-wide, the number is even greater. And we also have 3 rehabilitation centers in our county. And what the students had found through the research and data was that once the graduates left the rehabilitation center and they went back into their former environment, the odds of relapsing were very high. And they also found that the students that we had that were homeless, the next step was addiction. So they're trying to break that cycle and create a transitional housing community for the graduates to stay when they come out of the when they do graduate, and just kind of give them a hand up, provide some stability, and it also provides some stability for our students that have nowhere to stay.
So this is a student-led project. Is this one of the community challenge grants?
It is. We our fiscal court actually had bid on, I think, 5 of the tiny homes that were produced through KVEC funds, and we were awarded 3 of those.
Yeah.
So we have in possession 3 tiny homes that we toured the other day, and we actually have that on our YouTube channel right now. So we have 3 in possession, and Christ Hands, which is a local nonprofit in Harlan County, they have put up the funding to construct a 4th tiny home, and we have a buyer for that. So what will happen is when that home is sold for that transitional housing community, the funds will roll back in to build another, and the ultimate goal is to have a 20-home community for the graduates from the rehabilitation centers and also for the students.
And this is so exciting. Judge Dan Mosley is the one
Exactly.
that purchased them. The fiscal court's very supportive, and they realized the need for the housing. The tiny house project is so exciting. I was just reading about how in Arizona, because they had the lowest teacher pay, teachers can't afford housing, so they're building and buying tiny homes for teachers to live in and all that. So there's a lot of different purposes.
Our former ARI coordinator, David Hensley, he actually showed me that article, and I read it yesterday, and we hope to incorporate that. But it's amazing what they're able to do. And we were able to tour the tiny homes that were constructed the other day, and I had no idea. I knew they would be nice, but I didn't realize how nice and how well constructed they actually are.
Well, and the students designed them. They learned a lot from the first year. Last year was our second year of doing it, but there is much more storage space in those places than you realize.
There it is, and I tell you that one of the greatest benefits for this, to kind of bring everything full circle too, is that we've got a lot of community partners. We're partnering with Christ Hands, with the Appalachian Challenge Academy for at-risk youth in Harlan. Like we said, the physical court, and the stuff that we're able to do through KVEC and LRI. And what we've got set up is, Christ Hands is putting up the funds for the materials for the next tiny home, and the students from the actual Appalachian Challenge Academy are actually doing the construction. So they're learning those skills, they're learning servant leadership, and those are things that they'll be able to take with them when they graduate and when they go into their next setting.
Well, we know every community has been impacted by addiction.
Absolutely.
The drugs change, and with that comes different challenges and ways of great. What is the state now of how large is addiction a problem in Harlan County?
I think it's an issue nationwide, and I think in our area in eastern Kentucky and rural Appalachia, I think it's, and Mr. Mosley has said this, and several have echoed that statement, is probably one of the greatest obstacles of our time, the opioid epidemic. And if we don't provide some type of program or assistance or stability to these individuals, it's never going to improve. I think we're actually at a point now, I saw a stat the other day, where it's starting to plateau. But that's what I'm so excited about. The Hope Center in Harlan, E-House, these other homes, they do a wonderful job, and they really do a great service for the people that come through those programs. The problem we run into is when they leave and they have nowhere to go, and they're thrust back into their former environment, and sometimes they're around the same people and the same situations and the same hardships, and then relapse. It tends to be the next path.
Well, and as we know, people after they're in recovery and have been in it for a period of time, they can help others. But
Absolutely.
It takes a while before they're in that position to where the temptation or that drug that's provided to them, that they don't relapse.
And that's what these tiny homes will do, is they'll provide that stability. there'll be a safe, structured environment for them to live in. We hope to provide assistance with job placement, transportation technical skills, and things like that to kind of help them get on their feet. But what our students want to do is tell that story. And we're so appreciative for the community grant to allow us to do that. And like I said, we have a website, we have a YouTube channel, we have a logo. So we're starting to build that brand and starting to get the get the word out there about all the resources that are available and what we can do to help to curb those issues of addiction and homelessness.
Yeah. Well, this is not the only thing that you're doing. So I know you're doing some exciting things with STEM and I guess what robotics or drones and all that. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've got a full plate, but I'm very thankful. I teach web design at Harlan County High School and have for years since we consolidated in 2008. And I actually have a web design program to where if somebody in the community needs branding, or if they need a website or a logo or anything like that, my students are capable of doing that for them. And it's all free of charge. We do take donations, of course, but we've built probably 250 websites for individuals over the years at no cost. And for a small or a young business, that's a great opportunity.
Oh, and that's the key to economic development. Here you have young entrepreneurs that can create their own job. But we know the other thing is existing businesses, if they can expand their markets, expand their services, then they're going to be more successful. So that's remarkable that your students are already in the workforce.
And we want to break down the stereotypes too. Based on where we live, we do have some obstructions and things, with infrastructure and roads and things like that. But with the internet, the global market's at your fingertips. And we've been able to build websites for companies in Alaska to New York, to Tennessee, Virginia. So we have no limits in that regard, and the skills that the students learn through that program, they can take and begin work immediately. There's a lot of money to be made in that field, but I'm very proud of the work they've done, and they're able to take those skills and apply them to this project as well, and build a website. And the project is called CHART, that we're actually working with, and that stands for Community Homes for Homelessness and Addiction Recovery.
Well, this is Scott Pace, and you can see already his students are learning some great things and making an impact on the community.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot, Scott.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.